Today, we're wrapping up our two-part series on building the U.S. hydrogen economy by 2035. In part one, we dove into the top technology opportunities, including SMR with CCS, methane pyrolysis, natural hydrogen, and nuclear hydrogen. And so in part two, we'll dive into the top geographical locations and answer the question, where will the U.S. hydrogen economy take root? Let's tour the top locations for each production method, including green hydrogen, chosen for their resources, infrastructure, and market proximity. All of this on today's Hydrogen Podcast. So, where will the U.S. hydrogen economy take root? Let's tour the top locations for each production method, chosen for their resources, infrastructure, and market proximity. Start with the Gulf Coast for SMR with CCS. With 1.5 million miles of natural gas pipelines, major CCS storage sites in the Gulf of Mexico, and industrial clusters like Houston's petrochemical hub, it's a powerhouse, this per the DOE. ExxonMobil's Baytown facility produces 1 million tons annually, with CCS retrofits costing $100 million, achieving 0.5 to 1 kilogram of CO2 equivalent per kilogram of hydrogen, this per Nature Energy. The region's low-cost gas at $1 to $2 per MMBTU supports 10 to 15 million tons by 2035, that per the IEA. Nebraska and Pennsylvania shine for methane pyrolysis. Nebraska's Monolith plant, backed by a $1 billion DOE loan, taps Midwest gas pipelines and carbon black markets, this per C2ES. Pennsylvania's Marcellus Shale offers low-cost gas at $1 to $2 per MMBTU and proximity to steel plants, with a CI of 3.3 kilograms of CO2 per kilogram of hydrogen, this per Nature Energy. Each could produce 500,000 to 1 million tons by 2035, that per Bloomberg NEF. For natural hydrogen, Kansas and Appalachia, or Ohio and West Virginia, lead. Kansas's Mid-Continent Rift holds deposits with near-zero CI, with wells costing $10 to $50 million, this per Coloma. Proximity to ethanol plants supports methanol production, this per Wikipedia, and Appalachia's deposits near chemical clusters reduce transport costs, yielding 500,000 to 1 million tons by 2035, that per the IEA. Illinois and New York are ideal for nuclear hydrogen. Illinois' 11 reactors at 12 gigawatts offer excess off-peak power at $20 to $40 per megawatt hour for electrolysis, producing 0.1 to 0.5 kilograms of CO2 equivalent per kilogram of hydrogen, that per the DOE. New York's 9 Mile Point, with Constellation's pilot producing 1 ton daily, targets 100,000 tons annually, this per Science Direct. Each could hit 0.3 to 0.5 million tons by 2035. And green hydrogen thrives in Texas and California. Texas' 200 gigawatts of wind and solar potential, with electricity at $20 to $40 per megawatt hour, supports electrolysis at $3 to $5 per kilogram with 45V credits, this per the DOE. California's 50 gigawatts of renewable capacity and refueling infrastructure align with fuel cell vehicle markets, this per the IEA. Both could produce 1 to 2 million tons by 2035. These locations, the Gulf Coast, Nebraska, Pennsylvania, Kansas, Illinois, New York, Texas, and California, anchor the hydrogen economy, leveraging diverse strengths. And so how will the U.S. hydrogen market evolve by 2035, and how do the Senate-passed H.R.1's 45E and 45Q updates shape it? Starting from a 2024 market of just under $187 billion, projected to hit $400 billion at a compound annual growth rate of 9.2%, this per Grand View Research, let's forecast growth and impacts. H.R.1 passed by the Senate on June 30th of 2025, and it extends the 45V clean hydrogen production tax credit, which is up to $3 per kilogram, to January 1st of 2028 for facilities beginning construction by that date, softening the House's 2026 cutoff, this per H2 View. The 45U carbon capture credit is enhanced, increasing its value by over 40% for non-sequestration CO2 uses, such as methanol production, and adding foreign entity restrictions, this per Evergreen Action. Companies cannot claim both credits simultaneously, forcing strategic choices, this per the Federal Register. SMR with CCS leads, capturing 55 to 60% of production, or 14 to 16 million tons, by 2035. Its $1 to $2 per kilogram cost, bolstered by enhanced 45Q credits at $85 to $260 per ton, of CO2 drives scale, especially in the Gulf Coast, this per the DOE. CF Industries Donaldsonville expects $100 million annually from the 45Q. Methane leakage at 7.4 kilograms of CO2 per kilogram of hydrogen in the Permian adds 20 cents to 50 cents per kilogram, this per Nature Energy, but 45Q's boost offsets this, though $10 to $15 billion in investments remains at risk if credits lapse post-2028. Methane pyrolysis grows to 5 to 10%, fueled by pilots like monoliths. Carbon markets expected to be $12.8 billion by 2032 ensure viability, this per Data Horizon Research, but modular designs limit scale, requiring $2 to $3 billion for 10 to 20 megawatt plants, this per the IEA. The 45Q boost for CO2 to methanol supports hybrid pyrolysis projects, adding 10 to 20 cents per kilogram in value, but 45V's 2028 cutoff limits electrolysis-based pyrolysis, this per the Federal Register. Natural hydrogen reaches 2 to 5% or 0.5 to 1 million tons, constrained by geological limits. Coloma's $245 million funding drives Kansas wells, but $1 to $2 billion is needed for commercial scale, this per the DOE. Its 50 cents to $1 per kilogram cost is subsidy agnostic, unaffected by 45V and 45Q changes, but exploratory risks require $5 to $10 million per site, this per the IEA. Nuclear hydrogen contributes 5 to 8% or 1 to 1.5 million tons, supported by DOE's $7 billion hub program. The 45V extension to 2028 unlocks $5 to $10 billion in projects, keeping costs at $2 to $4 per kilogram with off-peak power, this per the DOE. H.R.1's nuclear credit, the 45U, adds foreign entity restrictions, increasing fuel costs by 5 to 10% post-2027, this per Evergreen Action. But co-located electrolyzers at $20 to $30 million for 25 megawatts mitigate risks. Green hydrogen starts at 5 to 10% or 1 to 2 million tons by 2035, with costs of $3 to $5 per kilogram using renewables at $20 to $40 per megawatt hour, this per the DOE. The 45V extension to 2028 supports $10 to $20 billion in electrolyzer investments, this per Bloomberg NEF, but costs and grid balancing limit scale, this per the IEA. By 2050, green hydrogen could reach 20 to 30% as electrolyzer costs drop to $200 per kilowatt and renewable capacity triples to 1,500 gigawatts, requiring $500 billion of investment per Bloomberg NEF. Total production hits 20 to 25 million tons by 2035, or half of the DOE's 50 million ton 2050 goal. The 45V extension to 2028 stabilizes electrolysis projects, while 45Q's boost favors SMR with CCS, but post-2028 uncertainty requires subsidy-agnostic models, this per H2 View. So who's buying this hydrogen, and how does green hydrogen scale to 2050? Let's explore offtake opportunities for ammonia, SAF, and other sectors and chart green hydrogen's long-term path. Low CI ammonia, a $200 billion market, needs 7 to 8 million tons of hydrogen by 2035. This per Tech Energy Ventures. Gulf Coast's SMR with CCS fuels CF Industries' Donaldsonville plant, producing 1 million tons annually at $500 to $700 per ton. Boosted by 45Q's $85 to $260 per ton of CO2, this per the IEA. Nebraska's methane pyrolysis supports Monolith's ammonia pilot. Kansas's natural hydrogen and Illinois' nuclear hydrogen target Midwest fertilizer plants, this per McKinsey. Green hydrogen in Texas and California at $3 to $5 per kilogram powers ammonia for coastal shipping by 2035, scaling to 5 to 7 million tons by 2050 as 45V supports $20 to $30 billion in projects, this per the DOE. Sustainable aviation fuel, a $1 trillion market by 2050, demands 1 to 2 million tons of hydrogen by 2035, this per the IEA. Nuclear and natural hydrogen in New York and Kansas with near-zero CI produce SAF at $1,500 to $2,000 per ton, meeting Corsia's 70% emissions reduction, this per Bloomberg NEF. Gulf Coast's SMR with CCS fuels ExxonMobil's Baytown for 500,000 tons annually, targeting Dallas airports, this per McKinsey, and Pennsylvania's pyrolysis supports SAF for Northeast hubs. Green hydrogen in California, with refueling infrastructure, fuels SAF for Los Angeles airports by 2035, scaling to 3 to 5 million tons by 2050, this per the IEA. Other opportunities include steel, like ThyssenKrupp's 151,000-ton tender in Pennsylvania, methanol, which nuclear and natural hydrogen in Illinois and Kansas for ethanol plants, boosted by 45Q for CO2 to methanol, and transport, this per the DOE. Green hydrogen supports transport in California by 2035, expanding to 10% of demand by 2050, this per the IEA. Green hydrogen scaling pathway to 2050 relies on a few things. The first is cost reduction. Electrolyzer costs need to fall from $1,000 to $2,000 per kilowatt to $500 by 2035 and $200 by 2050, cutting hydrogen costs to $1 to $2 per kilogram. It also needs renewable expansion. U.S. renewable capacity needs to grow from 500 megawatts in 2025 to 1,500 megawatts by 2050, with $1 trillion needed for investment. It also needs to address infrastructure challenges, $2 to $3 billion for pipelines and $5 to $10 billion for refueling stations by 2035, scaling to $50 billion by 2050, this per the IEA. It also needs policy support, extending 45V beyond 2028, or new incentives like Europe's Hydrogen Bank to unlock the $500 billion needed, this per Bloomberg NEF. It also needs partnerships, collaborations with tech giants like Amazon's Hydrogen Trials, and utilities secure offtake, this per Forbes. Green hydrogen's near-zero CI and scalability complement SMR with CCS's scale, pyrolysis' innovation, and nuclear hydrogen's stability, with 45V's 2028 extension providing critical early support. All right, that's it for me, everyone. If you have a second, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a good review on whatever platform it is that you listen to. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, whatever it is. That would be a tremendous help to the show. And as always, if you ever have any feedback, you're welcome to email me directly at info@thehydrogenpodcast.com. So until next time, keep your eyes up and honor one another.